They said he was nothing more than hype, a famous last name, a headline without a real story. They said the league would humble him in 5 minutes flat. Then the lights came on in Charlotte, the pocket closed in, and the kid decided to write his name into the NFL's ledger in his very first half of professional football. Shedeur Sanders stepped into the stadium carrying not just his pads, but the weight of a last name people either love to praise or can't wait to measure. And on this night, against the Panthers' speed, the league's doubt, and the whispering gallery of critics, he answered. Not with flash for the sake of flash, but with touch, timing, and 2 precision daggers to the same target, Caden Davis. The buzzer to end the second quarter sounded, and the only thing the doubters could cling to now was moving their goalposts. Tonight wasn't about a surname. It was about ball placement under heat, composure in the chaos, and the kind of steady control that transforms a preseason audition into a legitimate quarterback conversation. And if you think this was just August fluff, stop and ask yourself, if he had played poorly, would timelines have been quiet? Or would they have been on fire with "I told you so" takes? Exactly. Let's talk about how Shedeur flipped the script, silenced the noise, and made QB1 sound a little less hypothetical and a lot more inevitable. Start with the context. The Cleveland Browns traded up to select Shedeur Sanders in the 5th round, 144th overall. 5th round, not first. Not a coronation, not a face of the franchise pick, just a flyer. And if you listen to the loudest voices, that became the chorus. Maybe he's a project, maybe a gadget player, maybe a jersey seller. Then training camp started and the reality check arrived. Joe Flacco was the steady veteran. Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel were taking early reps. That left Shedeur fighting perceptions as much as defensive coverages. Injuries struck. Hamstring issues sidelined both Pickett and Gabriel. Suddenly, the Browns handed Shedeur the start for week 1 of the preseason, with newly signed Tyler Huntley ready in reserve and Flacco in a ball cap. That is not a gift, it's a timer. When practice reps get rationed next week, the tape decides who gets fed. Shedeur didn't need hype, he needed a window. Tonight he didn't just step through it, he leapt. The first series was exactly what defensive coordinators dream about against a rookie QB. Conservative calls, tight spaces, and a quick punt. That's the moment when young quarterbacks often shrink. They start aiming instead of throwing, pressing instead of reading, overthinking instead of trusting. But chaos came calling from the other sideline. Carolina's return team coughed up the football and the Browns pounced on it at the Panthers' 10-yard line. Short field, red zone, no place to hide. This is where narratives either begin or die. Does the rookie flinch, sail something high, force something late, or does he read, trust, and deliver? Shedeur did the latter. Cleveland dialed up a play that put him on the move, demanding calm mechanics and a precise wrist more than a rocket arm. He rolled, squared, and delivered a professional throw on the line. 7 yards later, the scoreboard lit up, and the noise turned into buzz. In August, opportunities rarely knock twice. You answer or you vanish. He answered, and what came next turned whispers into silence. Because you can talk about potential all day, but you can't fake ball placement from the far hash on a rollout. On that first touchdown, his base stayed compact, his release stayed crisp, and the ball hit the exact spot where only Caden Davis could grab it. That's not adrenaline, that's craft. The detail that separates nice stories from legitimate NFL quarterbacks. Watch it back, and you'll see his eyes hold the flat defender just long enough, freezing the hook curl defender, then firing before the window closed. That's processing. That's patience. That's a rookie refusing to let the moment speed him up. That throw told the sideline, the broadcast booth, and every living room watching. This isn't a tourist, this is a quarterback. And it told the defense they couldn't just crowd the box and dare him to beat tight space, because he just did. One score in, and the kid branded as nothing but a name now had game film shifting the conversation. But one throw won't rock every critic. That's why the next drive became a statement. 5 plays, about 60 yards. Shedeur operated like a veteran running a 2-minute drill. The highlight? A 30-yard rainbow on the move, dropped in a bucket and hauled in with a one-handed flourish by Lake Floria along the right boundary. That's arm talent meeting rhythm. That's off-platform footwork becoming a weapon instead of a bailout. Carolina tightened their red zone coverage to take away the first option, but Shedeur stayed calm. He worked through his progressions, found his matchup, and drilled another touchdown to Caden Davey. Meanwhile, the internet exploded. Phones lit up. Shedeur Sanders didn't play coy. He posted, "Yes. Oh yes," the moment his son's first NFL touchdown hit the end zone. And when the second score came, he doubled down with, "Oh yeah, what now? Josh and Coach Prime." That's not just a proud father. That's a Hall of Famer telling the world to take note. Then LeBron James chimed in, praising Shedeur's composure and smashing the "it's only preseason" dismissal. Translation: if failure counts, so does success. These weren't throwaway posts, they were pressure deflectors. They shifted the conversation from echo chambers to national sports discourse, where coaches have to answer questions and film rooms start cutting teaching tape. It all circles back to the huddle. Players feel when a building has momentum, and tonight momentum wore number 12. Shedeur gave Cleveland something real to react to, and the city reacted loud. But the most important statement wasn't online, it was between the lines. Strip away the last name, strip away the sentiment, and talk pure quarterback play. We saw timing in the flat, layered touch on the deep shot, pace control in the red zone, and the discipline to keep his footwork sound under pressure. That's professional quarterbacking. And we saw a cultural moment. A young black quarterback, often dismissed as marketing hype, stepped into his first NFL half and answered with substance, not chaos. Goalposts tend to move for quarterbacks who look like him. Words like flashy get used where composed belongs. Words like brand get used where student belongs. Tonight, he hijacked those narratives. He didn't need to scramble all over to justify being there. He needed decisive reads, calm eyes, and throws that traveled with purpose. That's what he delivered. So keep the nepotism jabs. Coaches don't grade tweets. They grade footwork, vision, and ball placement. On a night built for narratives to eat him alive, he turned those narratives into fuel, making everyone follow the tape instead. That's the kind of performance that stays in a locker room's memory and lingers in the halls of a facility. Which brings us to the Browns' next move. Officially, they'll talk about the process. Unofficially, reps are currency, and Shedeur just minted some fresh ones. Joe Flacco still holds the QB1 pencil crown. Pickett and Gabriel will return once healthy. Huntley is there as insurance. But when the next practice script is drawn up, the rookie who just engineered 2 clean touchdown drives is going to see more action. That means more scripted first red throws, more play-action boots, more deep overs to test timing, and more red zone reps to prove it wasn't a one-night wonder. He didn't have to be a September starter tonight. He just had to be undeniable enough to matter tomorrow. Mission accomplished. And if he strings 2 more precise outings across August, the quarterback room stops feeling crowded and starts feeling like a legitimate competition he can win, not because of his name, but because of his film. So what do the haters say now? Here's the truth about August. It's supposed to expose players. It's supposed to strip away the shine until only the truth is left. Tonight, the truth was clear. Shedeur Sanders didn't sell hope. He delivered execution. He took a shaky start and built drives. He turned a gift field position into a poised touchdown throw. He engineered a signature series, dropped a highlight reel moonshot, and hit the same receiver for a second score like it was routine. The numbers were clean, the eyes were steady, and the building took notice. So when someone shrugs and says, only preseason, treat it for what it is, a weak cover for a stale take. Because if this is the floor for a 5th-round rookie in his first NFL action, what happens when the playbook opens up, when chemistry deepens, when defensive looks start to slow down in his mind? Tonight in Charlotte, the noise faded. The hot takes cooled. The narratives paused. The only thing left was the film, and the film said QB. This is Huddle HQ. Thank you for watching. Thank you for riding along through the first glimpse of what could be a very real NFL story. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and get ready. Because if Shedeur Sanders can make the NFL quiet down in one half of preseason football, imagine what happens when the games count.